Kevin McCullough.
Welcome back to Times Square. It's That Kevin Show, thatkevinshow.com. All things related to the show, all my social media, everything there. Thatkevinshow@gmail.com to email the show. It's just That Kevin Show. I've even got it on the coffee mugs. So, you know, it's I won't forget it that way. It's easy. Speaking of things I wish we could forget, the the legacy that DEI left for us in many different elements of society. And even though the Trump administration is starting to systematically remove DEI from the government, it still has its roots firmly ensconced in different sections of society. I was reading just this morning that the huge super chain Costco, coast to coast, has doubled down on their DEI and their in their HR hiring practices and so forth. So I thought, why not talk to somebody about just that? From the Heritage Foundation, Mike Gonzalez joins us. He's written about this in his books, and he talks about it internationally. He's also a national security guy and can talk about interactions with the State Department and us on other levels. And Mike, I guess before we get to the DEI thing, welcome, first of all. Let me ask you, Marco Rubio's been on the job for all of like 3 or 4 days now, and we've literally found out that we had Americans being held hostages in different countries around the world that we didn't know about until he got there.
Yeah,
how's that possible?
Because we had an administration, and by that I mean the Biden-Harris administration, that was AWOL. We had an administration that did not care about the national security and the national interest, above all, of the United States. It pursued its policies. It wanted foreign countries to pursue the same kind of insanity on a racial and sexual basis that the woke pursue here in the United States. And we lost a lot of friends that way. And we did things that were inimical to our national interests. So it's not surprising at all that that they lost count of our hostages. It's not like the Biden administration ever spoke about the hostages it knew that existed in Gaza. When did you hear the Biden administration saying this is a priority for us, getting these hostages out of Gaza? I didn't hear it once.
The only time you heard about that, in all fairness, was when President Trump would bring it up and he would say, if they're not out by the time I'm in office, they'll be hell to pay.
That's right. And that's the reason we had such a rush to get a deal done as the hours waned on the not lamented Biden administration.
Right. No, it's yeah, and they tried to take credit for it, and everybody was like, look, if it weren't for Trump's people, we wouldn't have gotten this done. And you know what? The work's not over there. We've still got people that we gotta make sure get home.
Right.
Well, okay, so that sets up this conversation very well then, because I think that what Hegseth's going to find at DOD, what Rubio's finding out at Department of State, what Bondi's certainly going to walk into over at DOJ, you have this kind of infection of DEI, and it's not just a checkbox policy. It's not just, did you interview X number of people? It's not even, you can't even quantify it like that. It's a worldview. It's a values system that does not champion in any way meritocracy or rewarding people based on what they've earned, how they've gone about producing excellence in their field. So you've written a lot on this. You speak a lot about it. First of all, how did America become a place where DEI was something we even entertained? We were a meritocracy from the beginning. This has always been part of our DNA to be focused on excellence and doing our best. How did it set in so strongly in just 4 years?
So Kevin, how much time do you have? Yeah, I'm glad that you talk about the cultural part of this, because before we get into the nitty-gritty of what the executive orders do, you have to think of DEI as kind of the operating system of this culturally Marxist critical theories
right.
that say America is based on genocide. America is an awful place. America is systemically systemically oppressive, systemically racist, and its guiding principle is white supremacy. And therefore, all of America needs to be, all these institutions has to be a complete and wholesale change of everything American. And we need to put in a new paradigm, a new hegemony, a new way of looking at America. And that really basically was what DEI did. The DEI trainings reminded many of us of the struggle sessions that Mao Zedong had in China during the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s and 70s. So it was this kind of indoctrination, this kind of brainwashing that they attempted. And then they said, when we called them out on it and said, look, you're doing this, they would say, are you really seriously against diversity, equity, and inclusion? This is about bringing in marginalized groups, bringing into the American system. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, is now saying that this is a meritocracy. Kevin, this is all a lie. A lie. And if you look at the people who actually write about this, the pioneers of critical race theory, they denounce the meritocracy. They say that it's based on qualifications that were never good, that the qualities that the American meritocracy system rewards are not good qualifications, are not good traits, and we need to change the thinking. So this is a very fundamental thing. I must say that the Trump team, what Trump has done in his first week is of a surprising sophistication. They have really understood it, and they have gone in there and tried to excise it like a surgeon does to a cancer patient. This is not Trump 1.0. This is not like any administration that we have seen. This is Trump 2.0. In his first day, he issues 22 EOs, executive orders. George W. Bush did not issue a single one in his first day in the first term, not a single one in his first day of the second term. Obama issues 2 his first term, issues 0 in his second term. Trump's 22 EOs are a record in our history.
Well, and it's because of how badly things went so quickly under the last group. I think I've gotten into a little bit of trouble for saying this, not from the president, but from some of his supporters. But I think that the time in the wilderness for President Trump was not completely lost. I know that he would have rather have stayed in office, and that we would have saved a lot of people a lot of pain, potentially, if he had been there. But I think that by him having to kind of sit on the sideline and watch, he already had kind of documented the downfall of America over the last couple of generations, and he'd been watching it and kind of warning people about it. You go back and you look at his time on Oprah and Donahue and some of those other shows that he did when he was much younger. He was talking about the same stuff that he just got elected on, but it wasn't as developed at that point. It hadn't gotten this bad. In the last 4 years, it got really bad really fast, and I think he basically just said, it's up to me to go in there and fix it, and I'm only going to have 4 years, really only 2 years guaranteed. Got to get in there and get it done. We're speaking with Mike Gonzalez of the Heritage Foundation. Coming right back after a quick break. Got to pay some bills.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.